Hi, welcome back to the Truth Doctor Show. My name is Dr. Courtney Tracy. I'm known as the Truth Doctor. And on this show, I talk about the world through a mental health lens, using pop culture and the media as my medium. Today, I am reacting to episode 6 of Arcane. This is the final episode in Act 2 of season 1. I don't know if any of you are going to VidCon, but I'm going to be at VidCon this weekend. As a featured creator, I'm doing 2 panels, one on Thursday, one on Friday, and on Saturday night, I am one of the creators for the creator keynote. I hope to see some of you there. Come find me. Okay, now let's get into the reaction. Viktor.
You built this. Why aren't you playing with the others? Loneliness is often the byproduct of a gifted mind.
When it comes to growing your consciousness, gaining more insight, having awareness of how you and the world and other people work around you, you start to realize that people are a lot more asleep and a lot more unconscious than they think that they are. We're all in our own mind. Nobody can actually ever be in our mind. And when we come to that realization, it can be a very lonely place. But if you start to explore your mind, you can realize that it's vast and never ending. And it's something actually quite interesting to dive into on your own.
She's dying. I'm attempting to prevent that.
I heard your prognosis. I'm terribly sorry, my boy.
Improving lives, solving real issues, not just trade disputes. Viktor saved my life once. Now he needs me, and there's nothing I can do. He's like my brother.
I'm in exile from my family.
There's a lot of themes that have been coming up in this show, especially as we're closing out the end of Act 2. Chosen family or family in general is a really major topic. Jayce just said that Viktor was like his brother. We see that Medarda just said that she didn't live up to the standards, and so she's in exile from her family. Something for us all to really keep in mind. Whenever I'm working with people individually in group therapy, couples counseling, or family therapy, it's such a common occurrence that we have to talk about the rules that were placed on the individual or the family within the family unit, and how we can shift those and change those to allow each person to have their needs, wants, and preferences met while also working together cohesively as a group. It's not easy, and that's kind of why we exist. Okay, what was going on there?
We lost her.
Lost who?
Whoo!
It's your sister. She's back. She's looking for you. It's not what you think. She's with some girl enforcer. Guess she replaced you.
Okay, see, that is one of, we know, Jinx's or Powder's biggest concerns is that she isn't needed, that she's replaceable, that she doesn't belong, never did, and doesn't need to. So that is going to push her buttons. And you can see the images start to come back. In the first episode where she's having the hallucinations pop up when she's on the bridge, the way that I'm taking that is sort of symbolic. I'm taking it as this was the first moment or the first loss that was going to be a contributing factor to her becoming Jinx, to having this potential psychosis, hallucinations, delusions, which I really would take these as indicators, because we don't know, because it's an animation, that these may be symbolic for how she's feeling, what's happening in her brain and what's happening in her body whenever the aspect of her trauma surfaces.
Jinx.
I mean, maybe she was pretending to cry so that she could be manipulative, but I'm taking this as she was actually upset. When our body or our brain starts to feel that way, feel that trauma, feel that anger, feel that loss, feel that pain or that hurt, it can switch. Dissociative identity disorder, dissociation, these things can start to happen as defense mechanisms so that we can defend ourselves from feeling something that we don't want to feel. She just went from being really sad to, nope, now I'm back to being my violent, non-caring self, even though I actually care.
About time Daddy joined us. Could you imagine being separated from your father? Oops. Oh, so sorry.
Something called cognitive dissonance. Usually this has to do with beliefs. It's so easy for Silco to threaten someone's daughter when the moment that Sevika disagreed and thought that, Jinx was a problem and came to Silco with this issue, Silco was basically like, shut the heck up.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
I don't care at all. Now he's here threatening somebody else's daughter. He has these values of protecting Jinx, of wanting to bond with people that have the same ideals as him and wanting to keep her safe, and then doing what he's doing to Marcus. Curious if any of you can think of any areas in your life where you have beliefs or values, and then you engage in behaviors that don't actually align with those.
This is unlike anything we've ever seen, Jayce. It could be the key to augmenting physiology, extending life, curing you.
What is this place? It's where the kind of people you topsiders don't want to think about wind up.
I know you have your reservations about me. This only works if we can trust each other.
It doesn't work. It never has.
We aren't monsters, We're people, just like you.
You don't know anything about me.
So Powder and Jinx are not the only one who are having these memories that are traumatized by what has happened, and that's missing, that the brain and the body is missing that interaction and hasn't processed that interaction. And so now you can see that they're both having these feelings, and it's going to be interesting to see how they act if they end up meeting up with each other. Caitlyn said, we're people just like you. But the thing is most of the time, people in the upper hierarchy of society don't view the people in the lower part of society as people. And even the people that were way down there on the bottom, where Vi says, this is the place where the topsiders don't even want to think about, is really relevant. Homeless people, people that live below the poverty line, at the poverty line, above the poverty line, that are still in poverty, just don't even get addressed as people from the government or the people that are making these decisions a lot of the time.
You must destroy it.
That's your opinion. We'll see if the council agrees.
Yikes.
Is she all right? Wait.
Yes,
Easy.
see, right away.
That's Vi, right? She makes potions. Helps people here with this.
Shimmer, why would you take something that does that to you?
I just wanted to feel what it was like to be somebody. Just tell her I'm sorry about everything. Okay?
One other thing. I saw Caitlyn Kiriman had a prisoner released on your order. Is there anything I can assist with?
I believe if we set aside our greed and arrogance, we can be one again. It will take vigilance. We must hold each other accountable.
And who holds you accountable?
Your Hextech projects need more time, more safeguards.
Humans don't live for centuries.
Right.
We can't wait for progress. I believe it's time we gave the beloved founder of our city a well-deserved retirement.
Jayce, don't do this.
With my deepest respect and appreciation, Professor.
Heimerdinger, it appears, has only had the best interest of the city and the people, especially what he was saying in the beginning of the speech, which was we all need to come together, get rid of our greed and arrogance. But now we see Jayce so confidently believing that Heimerdinger doesn't have the best interest at heart. Why? The problem is, as human beings, when we have our mind set on something, when we believe that this is the only answer, which we've seen from Jayce over time, is that he believes that this is the answer. This is it. And thing is, Professor's not saying that that's not it, that it isn't the solution. He's just saying it needs more safeguards. And he keeps going back to this image. Something happened related to power that just got out of hand. So he's really looking out for people here. At least that's how it comes off. But Jayce is very wrapped in his head. Yes, he wants to help people and solve the problems, but he's also being selfish because his brain thinks, I have this idea and I want to stick with it. So it's just really interesting to see. And I'm curious, I wish we could know why all of the other council members decided to raise their hands too. What do you think?
Easy, easy, easy.
Ooh, they got
I
close.
need you back on your feet.
Violet powder.
You used to live here. Who's Powder? What, you don't have parents?
No. They were killed by enforcers.
The reality. It's doubtful that Caitlyn will ever be able to go back to the way that she was because of what she's seen. The reality and the truth of what happens in Zon and what happens in this discrepancy between societal norms in each area and the way that the enforcers and the council and the government or whatever actually treats people in the Undercity, and just how much loss of life, loss of function, of ability, of mental wellness and physical wellness happens because of the divide.
Vander's protégé. But Jinx. Oh, she is more than I ever imagined.
Wherever you are, light it up and I'll find you.
Yes! I have chills. Oh, that was so intense. I had chills. Oh my God. Okay. How many times do people think that when people are traumatized or when people are addicted or they're in psychosis or they have a mental health disorder, that they will always have that disorder, that they don't want to get better? The fact that Jinx set off the flare saying, basically, I want you, I need you, I'm still here as Powder, or at least as your sister, and I want to find you, says a lot. They showed something like that person that said that they tried Shimmer, let's just say the drug, because they just wanted to know what it would feel like. That's such a reason why people use substances too, because they want to numb the pain. They want to know what it feels like to feel differently. They want to just have a different life than the one that they're having right now. And then you saw that the person sold out Caitlyn and Vi to Silco so that they could get more Shimmer. Yes, there's a pattern of substance use and of depression, anxiety, certain behaviors where it's just like it's a self-feeding issue. Like when you're depressed and then you don't get out of bed because you're depressed, but then not getting out of bed makes you depressed. Or you start using substances because you want to numb the pain, but then the more that you use substances, the more pain you experience when you don't have them. And so then you want to use more of them. It's self-fulfilling, right? And so for Powder Jinx, for example, she has these hallucinations, these delusions. She's causing violence or engaging in violence that's causing her nervous system, her brain, her body to get riled up. So she's in these situations, then she's having more flashbacks, more episodes of psychosis, hallucinations, delusions that are causing her to get more angry, reminding her of her trauma. So it's this pattern, and the trauma causes more violence, more isolation. And so it's this vicious pattern. But just because we're in a pattern, just because we have habits and behaviors and we've created this life around us because of what we've been through, doesn't mean that we can't make different choices. Doesn't mean that one day we can't say, I want to be different, right? That's why people go to therapy. It's why they take medication. It's why they start to help themselves. It's why they go to treatment or the hospital. To me, Jinx throwing off that flare was saying, I'm still here. Come save me. And that's a really, really big moment. And I'm really excited because I hope that they find each other.
Rio will live.
You did this?
I thought you understood.
Oh, she thinks she's not coming.
Powder?
Oh. Oh my god. Oh, her face is softer. Oh my god.
Oh, Powder! Are you real?
Oh.
Yes, of course. It's me, Vi. Your sister. I'm here. I'm right here. Things changed when you left. I changed. I know. Pow Pow, I know. You did what you had to do to survive.
Are you real? When you've lost hope, but you have just enough hope to set off the flare, you're already going to question, are you real? Is this really happening? Are you alive? Are you standing right in front of me? Because it's something that you've wanted for so long. But also what really got me was the are you real, because of how many hallucinations she's been having, how many flashbacks she's been having, seeing Vi, seeing Milo, seeing Clagger. Such a beautiful rendition where they had Jinx spinning around and they showed everybody that she had been thinking about, and they're all standing and supporting her right there as she's holding up the flare. That was seriously such a beautiful moment. And I love how Vi goes straight into saying the things that she was saying to Powder, like, you did what you needed to do to survive. And Powder, Jinx right away saying, I changed, things changed when you left, I changed. And Vi sort of reassuring that, like, it's going to be okay. It's really beautiful. And I wonder if it's going to start to have some repair for both of them.
Who's she?
Who are you?
It's okay. She's a friend.
Sevika wasn't lying? You're with an enforcer?
Okay, so right here, seems like things aren't going to go too well. Sevika already planted a belief inside Jinx's head, already planted the belief, looks like she replaced you. One, Jinx is already used to Vi choosing other people to go fight battles with her. It's one of the main reasons she was so upset when Vi would always leave with Milo and Clagger. So that's going to set off a trigger for her right there. Another thing is, again, what Sevika said, that she already replaced you. So Jinx, just now getting this relationship back with her sister, immediately feels threatened. And the amygdala and the other parts of our brain that tell us we're in fear, this is dangerous, fight, flee, freeze, do something about it, is way more active and has been for years in Jinx. So this compassionate, calm, accepting, hopeful, grateful, and connective part of Powder is so much more weak. So it's much more likely that she's about to freak out. Let's see.
This is a trick. You're playing me. Shut up. I'm in no mood.
Powder, it's okay.
Stop calling me that. It's Jinx now. Powder fell down a well.
Powder! I'm here for you. Only you. You can fire that thing if you want, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to abandon you again.
Everyone shut up. I need to think.
All right. The violence mixed with Vi putting her arm on Powder, Jinx, is going to be so confusing. Okay. It causes a fluctuation in her brain. I'm safe. I'm not safe. I'm safe. I'm not safe. I'm safe. I'm not safe. And again, we're going to fall back to the I'm not safe, defend myself perspective, because that's what the brain wants to do. It wants you to be happy and connective, but not if it feels unsafe. If it feels unsafe, all it wants for you is to be safe. Also, the brain really likes repetition. So again, over the last years, Jinx has just been engaging in violence. But then the moment that she is exposed to Vi, she sort of falls back into that, I need you, I want you, I want to connect with you. She was not only enacting the violence that she enacts to avoid the emotions, but the emotions were so current. They were essentially happening around the same time. So it's going to cause this reaction. And then for Vi to see Jinx act or Powder act the way that she was acting, it's probably very scary for Vi. When somebody that we love is struggling, has a mental health disorder, has an addiction issue, we can blame ourselves. And there was something that Vi said. She said, I should never have, and she was likely going to say, I should never have called you a Jinx. And honestly, words do hurt. And sometimes we can't take back the things that we have said. But Vi also said that when Milo, Clagger, and Vander had all died and she had almost died. And so we have a tendency to lower our filter when we're trying to protect ourselves or we've just been in a really overwhelming situation. So the frontal part of our brain isn't as active as it normally is. It's going to help us determine what is the actual best thing to say and how do I actually feel. We just start functioning off of how we feel. And so we've seen that in many, many situations. It's really sad that Jinx was left by herself again, because even when she asked Vi, are you real? Then all this happened. It was super chaotic. And Jinx has already engaged in a lot of violent situations where she's seen Vi. I think even in episode 4, when she was fighting that person, she saw that person as Vi, even though it wasn't. And so I wonder if in the next episode, she's going to be wondering, did that even actually happen or not? And regardless of whether her mind can figure out whether or not it happened or not, her body and her brain are going to experience the effects of it. So she's going to continue to wonder, did I have those moments with Vi, and be processing the feelings that she had. You know, they really slowed everything down to emphasize just how much she would change. Like, it slowed down, it was softer. And then instantly she went back to those hallucinations and those scratchy pictures, because that's the defense. It's this is how I remember things. This is what's going to enact the violence. And here are the memories of what it feels like the last time that I felt calm or connected to. It can be really difficult to heal when we enter the old environment that we've been in, because those feelings resurface. And that happens a lot when people are in the hospital or they're in residential treatment for substance use or mental health, and they start to get better, but then they go back to their environments with no supports. And then those triggers start to happen again. And it does happen a lot. It shouldn't, but it does happen a lot because people aren't set up well when they leave. Like, for example, if Jinx was coming out of treatment, we would have had sessions with her and Vi while she was in treatment so that she could process the feelings that came up the first time that she saw her, so that the brain can start to collaborate and not go straight to defense mode, because now Jinx thinks, if somebody loves me, I should defend myself against them. What are your triggers, and when do they come up even in good situations? And are there any areas that you can repair so that the person that you're around, that you want to be around, or the place that you want to go that you haven't been able to go in the past, isn't going to cause that type of reaction to come up in you again, isn't going to cause a flashback or a trigger or a desire to combat this positive feeling. I guess the last example I'll leave you with is even in relationships. Let's say we've had a relationship that's a really good relationship in the beginning, and then it sort of plummets towards the end. You get super hurt, either you get cheated on or they pass away or something like that happens. And then when you get into a new relationship, you're really scared. You're defensive. Maybe you self-sabotage because those protective feelings come back up again. And so it doesn't have to be psychosis. It doesn't have to be that we have these hallucinations and delusions when we're triggered. It could also be that we just retreat and that we self-sabotage, because the good feelings, for what we know from our past, the good feelings lead to bad outcomes. But that's not always the case, but your brain might think that. So many good lessons from episode 6. I can't believe there's only 3 more episodes. I really want to see what happens with Caitlyn and Vi. And just a reminder, if anybody is going to VidCon, then let me know in the comments below. I'm so excited to see you all next weekend if you are going to be there. And as always, I'm so glad that each and every one of you exist.